college students who are affiliated with Northwestern of the university in some way. And I know I personally get kind of caught up in what I think some people have termed Slacktivism, where you post on Facebook or post on Twitter and then you're done and you don't do anything after that. So what can we as students, as young people do to further that and go farther into the movement?
Great, I love that question, and I think it affects all of us. And I don't think, no one ever told us, hit like, or now on Facebook, you can love, you can hate, you can do whatever emoji you want. No one ever said, hey, that's how we're going to change the world. Like, of course not. No one ever said that, and that's not, we don't believe that. But in a lot of ways, retweeting, sharing, or even writing your own unique post, for too many of us, sometimes that is literally the extent of what we do about a particular issue. I would say that what we do online about injustice, whatever injustice it may be, it's definitely better than nothing, but only a little bit. It's definitely better than not speaking out or speaking up at all, absolutely. But when that is the extent of what we do, we end up with people who are highly aware of our problems, but very little that gets done about it. Here's an example. In my borough of Brooklyn in New York, I didn't know this, but Brooklyn is so large that it would be the third largest city in the country if it was its own city. And it's larger than almost every other city in the country. It's densely populated. And in our last race for district attorney, less than 5% of people in Brooklyn even voted. No position in Brooklyn affects criminal justice more than that race. And 95 point something percent of the people in Brooklyn didn't even vote for it. But everybody in Brooklyn is real woke on Facebook. You know? Everybody in Brooklyn gives a damn, cares, tweets, Instagram, Snapchats, protests even. But then there was this offline moment, and people just didn't take it. And so a guy who was really, if there were 10 candidates, he'd have been my fifth choice. He wasn't the worst, but he was not at all the best person. And I was stuck with this guy for years, and he will impact tens of thousands of people's lives. I said to say that what we do online has to represent a tiny fraction of what we do, and currently it represents a huge percentage. So I want to encourage you to, even if your attempts are clumsy, I want you to begin the hard work of organizing people for issues that matter offline. And you will make significant mistakes. You will not always see the fruit of your labor, but we have to take that work offline. There's several things that I would encourage you to do. A lot of people are encouraging people running for office, and I'll double down on that. I would really encourage you to consider making a decision to be a part of the system. And here's what I mean. Some of us are meant to be insiders, and some of us are meant to be outsiders. Part of what I'm bothered about in this system, this time that we're in, most of us are outsiders. I spoke at a law school recently, and I asked them, how many of you are interested in being prosecutors? It must have been 300 students. Not one student raised their hand. And I spoke at a high school recently. It was probably 2,500 kids there. And I asked them, how many of you want to be police officers? If no one raised their hand, and if there was anybody in there, they were too embarrassed to do it. Here's what's happening. If we abandon the inside, nobody wants to be a jailer. Nobody wants to be a warden. But here's what happens. If we abandon all of those professions, and all of us who are humanitarians at heart don't enter law enforcement, don't become prosecutors, don't work for jails or prisons. Somebody else is going to take those jobs, and they're not going to have our best interests at heart. We have decided, to our own detriment, to be almost exclusively outsiders, and we're paying a big price for it. So some of you, I hope and pray, will put yourself on the path to becoming insiders. For you, that may mean running for office, it may mean becoming a prosecutor, it could mean 100 different things. But if all of us are outsiders, the system can't change the way it needs to change. Two random things I would encourage you to do. If you get a chance, and for those of you who are fourth-year students about to graduate, you may not be able to do it now, but study abroad. I got a chance to study abroad in South Africa when I was an undergraduate student, and it changed my life. It gave me an opportunity to see the world beyond this thing I had experienced. It gave me a chance to see other movements, other people, highs, lows, good and bad. It helped me become a citizen of the world. And so if you get a chance to study abroad anywhere, I would do it. It'll just give you a deep world view. It's worth the sacrifice and opportunity to do it. And then lastly, I can't say this enough. Once you leave this place, there are risks that are very difficult to take, things that are very difficult to say. Your time is different, your responsibilities are different. I'm not saying being a college student is easy, it's not. But while your primary responsibilities are academic, use this time to organize in ways like, I literally have 5 jobs. I work full-time for a place called The Intercept. I work for the Tom Joyner Morning Show, or for a place called the Young Turks. I do these, I travel and speak 2 or 3 times a week. I work for Harvard Law School's Fair Punishment Project. And after I answer to all 5 of my bosses, I'm done for the day. And there's very little time for me to strategize and organize. And I'm in grad school full-time still, and I don't talk about that publicly. But when you have more time, and I have 5 kids, I'm just saying, before you get all of that stuff, use your time in some ways. I just can't. And there's a unique opportunity that you have as a young person, and I just hope you take full advantage of it.